Okay. So, just thought I'd record some of the most boring part of this task with the new website. So I'm linking. Now don't make the mistake of thinking that I've actually done all these pages. I haven't. I've just created the pages themselves. They're not necessarily done, but I'm just linking all of the pages. I hate it when it does this. All of the pages to, well, all of the icons to the pages. Oh, it knew exactly what I wanted there. That's nice. It never happens. The issue is for each icon and the writing, I've got to go in, connect the page. These dynamic pages, which means I have to go guide pages title, and then I have to wait a bunch of time. I didn't realise this actually worked for absolutely ages, so I was literally typing in the web address for every page, which was time consuming. And it turns out, yes, this does work if you wait long enough. Half the time it's not on this first list. I have to go all the way down to the bottom and go next. And it doesn't usually select the right one, but that happens to be the top one. And now it's underlined it. I don't want it underlined, so I've got to undo the underline. How do I do that for 117 different icons and 117 different bits of text? So yes, this is thoroughly boring. I'm doing it now because I want to go through each of the pages and see what I've actually got so far, because I've basically imported a bunch of the data from the old website over, and I want to see how it affects the pages, so I'll show you in a second what I mean. Where is it? I'll just do two more, so space encounters and derelicts, and then I'll show you. I've already done the top half of the page last night, but it took forever. Second page. Of course, some of the pages aren't going to be linked to the dynamic pages. I will create specific pages for, because as I'll show you in a second, the whole point of the dynamic pages is that it follows a specific guide that you've a specific template that you've set up by pulling data directly from a database that you've also set up. So I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Let me just link the icon as well. No, I don't want to change the image, thank you. I want to change the link. No, it's on the second page, isn't it? Okay, let's just publish and save that. Right, so if I go to the dynamic pages, usually you've got an all page, which allows you to create a template that will link to all of the individual pages. But as my main page already does that, essentially with all the icons, there's nothing here because there's no need for it. I'm not going to use that page, but the individual pages I will. So this is the template then. As you can see, it looks pretty boring without any data in it. You've just got the title bar along with the previous and next, section menu, all the things. These are going to change depending on which section of 8 different things you're on, and some link to relevant pages, the main body of the writing, just a title bar that will always say No Man's Sky Resources Infographics, and then some LinkedIn infographics, and then up to 2 videos. Right, so that's the template. If I try going to one, let's reset this and try going to one of them that I just linked. So if I go to Space Encounters now, hopefully we'll see that it's pulled in stuff. So there's my title. It hasn't pulled in a in-game guide because there isn't one for Space Encounter, so let's try Derelicts. I think that's got one. Right, okay, so Derelict Freighters, you've got all of the 8 topics from that particular heading, so not the heading Derelict Freighters, but the heading Space and Galaxies. Okay, and you've got your in-game guide graphic, and just to be clear, it is all adjusting with the size. I've checked, I've made sure that everything is set there. So it's pulled in one link because I've only got one link. I've not actually created that page yet, so if I click on it, it probably won't exist. It'll just come up with a message saying it does not exist or whatever. Oh, let's go. That's weird. That's really weird. It's gone to the old web page. Oh, because it's got the old yeah, I thought ahead and I figured if I linked those buttons to addresses on the new website, it will say No Man's Sky Resources Editor XIO, which means that when I transfer it over to the proper domain name, which is nomanskyresources.com, all those links won't work anymore, which is why I've made sure in advance to put the links starting with that instead. So that's why it's directed me here, because it can't find Derelict Freighter Loot, so it's just gone straight to home. But that will, when I've created that page and when I put it all over, that will link to a page that has the loot table in it. Alternatively, I might just try and set up a way that pulls in a specific page that I've created. So if I create the Derelict Freighter Loot table on a different page, I can insert that page within this page. The issue is that then it will insert an empty page for all the other pages, if that makes sense. So I could go to Space Encounters and there'll be a section without anything there because there's no loot table to link to. Yeah. So it's also pulled the little bit of writing that I had that I've just simply moved over from the old website to the new one. I've literally just copied all the writing from each page onto any relevant pages on the new website, but I've obviously got to go through the database, which I'll show you in a minute, and just edit everything so that it's all completely relevant. Because for example, there'll be some, like the freighter pages, there'll be some of the same writing on all 3 of these pages here, and we don't want that. That's just boring. So look, a freighter is a colossal interstellar starship. If we go to freighter fleets, okay, so once you have a freighter, go to fleet expeditions. I bet it says once you have a freighter as well. Yes, so that writing is exactly the same on both of them, and that's dull. Again, we're going to make a page for frigate expedition loot. Again, I'd rather have it within the page than a button to another separate page, but we'll see what I can do. So yeah, you scroll down, you have infographics and whatever infographics I've got. The idea is for this new website that I remake all of these as separate pages, so that they all end up looking the same and not. I mean, that these look a lot better than they used to because I've done them all with this specific black and white format with the thing on the top. Like they all look a bit like that, but I want to like physically have this in pages on the website. So let's say that my writing about storage rooms there, they changed something and that's no longer correct. I want to just be able to click on a page on the website, edit that writing out, take a new screenshot of it, and you're done and dusted. All right. That's the idea. So I will be recreating every single infographic that I have that way, and then linking in as embedded pages eventually. But for now, I just want to get the old website out of the way and this new one up and running. So for now, I am keeping the infographics like this. I have made sure that you can click on them to bring them up like that, and that you can full screen them as well. And again, that works with everything. And then you've got the videos that were linked in. Okay, so if I now show you the actual database, manage content. So this is where I will be doing most of my editing once the website is up and running. I won't be messing around with the pages themselves all that much. I will simply be editing stuff here. So if I go through it, you've got all of the pages, the guide pages written here. Now I'll point out that these top ones there, I'm not using, right? Because I've separately made them, right? So the pages that you see on the website for them aren't actually pulling from here, because the links I've provided for those icons are to the separate pages that I made for them. And the reason I did that is because these particular pages don't follow the structure that I just showed you, right? They've got a different structure to them, so I needed to create them separately and not as part of the database. But if we have a look at stuff that is in the database, so you've got your links to the previous page, your links to the next page, links to the section itself, so all of these will go to Survival Basics for the section. I've got a section here ready for inserting pages, so embedding pages. In fact, I'm going to change the name of that, just embed page, because that makes a bit more sense. Okay, so I will put, say here I've got Analysis Visor table. Alright, at the moment I've got it linked to a button. Alright, but if I want to have it embedded, I'm going to have to put the link there. Once I've created it though, I'm not going to do that right now. In fact, let's... Right, you'll see that I've got the Analysis Visor icon table in quite a lot of these things. Anyway, moving on, we've got we've got the in-game guide picture. Why is it doing that? Seriously, stop it. Yeah, we've got button 1, button 2, button 3, button 4, and it's basically the writing that I want on the button and the link that the button links to. Then we've got our No Man's Sky resources gallery. These are difficult to add to because you literally have to go in and it will open up this folder, which you then have to add media and go through your specific folders. Every time I end up having to A to Z it, and you can either find the specific pictures that you want or you can search for it. So what do I want? Analysis Visor then, let's just show you what I mean. Alright, and it will bring up a bunch of stuff about the Analysis Visor. This was the file I wanted. Alright, but I could potentially add a few of them. Alright, the issue comes when it's not on your thing there, but it does exist. Like this see all doesn't always appear there, which is a bit annoying. And then yeah, they'll all be there. But I don't want to do that anyway. Alright, so then we've got our video link number 1, video link number 2 for those videos at the bottom of the page. It does mean where I've got it set up for 2 videos, which is a case of basically just wanting the page to look right, because having just one video it looks wrong. I tried. You can't really get the video properly fully on the screen, and if you resize it you just end up with lots of wasted space. So I figured it just made sense, especially as some of these pages have 2 videos already, just made sense to have 2 videos in that section. Okay, so these are these the generated ones? Yeah, I think those are the generated ones that are what the so this one is they'll all say guide pages because that's this bit, and then these will say guide pages plus the name of the page, basically how it will appear in the web the address bar up here. Okay, then you've got your section stuff, so this is the little menu that's got all of the stuff from that section in it. So you've got icon, name, and then at the end, because they're not in the right place, you've got the link to those specific pages. Now these are the generated ones, so what the hell's that other one about? It's guide pages. For some reason they're on there twice. That's bizarre. I wonder why it's done that. So you can see those are the ones they're drawing from because they're in the light blue colour. Maybe delete them? I think that might be a result of me importing and exporting too many times. So basically you can export what you've got to an Excel document, and you can edit within the Excel document and then re-import it. Now the issue that I've got is when I'm importing, it's creating a second line for them, which is probably something to do with the things I just deleted. Hopefully that deleting them fixes that issue, we'll find out. But yeah, I can export, I can edit it within Excel, and then, in fact, I'll just show you that. Let's just export filtered content, because I don't want to export the content that I've got hidden, because that's just a waste of time and space. Okay, so I can go to MSGuy Resources, website, find a website, guide pages. In fact, you know what I'll do is I'll just, because I don't want to overwrite that just yet, I will go to. Alright, now if I open it up, eventually it will open, sure of it. I'll go to the live site. There's that other section there as well. Yeah. And where are the proper ones? Yep, there. Section 1D. Alright, so let's delete them off the live page as well. I can't help but notice it's not actually opening the thing for some reason. Oh, won't let me delete them off the live page. Why? I'm really not sure what's going on with them. Let's go to the other ones. Can I hide these at least? Let's do that. Alright, let's go open this separately, shall we, as it wasn't opening. So guide pages 2. Now, annoyingly, it won't be in the right order. So I find extremely annoying. Let's get rid of signatures. Oh, here we go. It was opening, it was just in the background. Right, so you'll see that it's in a random order. So what we want to do is we want to select all, but get rid of the top row because we don't want to rearrange the top row. And we're going to arrange it by column B, because that's our order column. I don't know why it's resized the heights of the rows. It doesn't usually do that. Right, so this is basically what you get. Let's make this bold. So now let's say I'm not going to edit icons in here because obviously that's a bunch of gibberish to me. I understand the height and width stuff and the name of the file, but all of this is going to be randomly generated when you upload a picture in the first place. So that this is what, annoyingly, the picture is actually called on the website, and that makes it completely impossible for you to replace an image an easy way, right? So if I say this particular image was on multiple different pages, I can't just replace this image with a different one and then it change on all those pages. I've literally got to go to each of those pages to do it, which is why I have this database thing, because now I can search for this on the database and just replace. So if I for example, if I copy, I go where is it, find and replace. Right, anywhere that's got that I want to replace it with, and then I edit to what I want to replace it with, and I click replace all, and it will replace all of them all at once. Right, so that's a handy reason to do it in Excel rather than actually on the website. I can check that, make sure everything is properly named and everything. So say I've got a few links that aren't working, this will be a really good way of figuring out why. Let's edit the size of these as well, because that is too much. Okay, so as you can see, it's basically the same as it is on the website, but with more information. So here you can see all the font styles and the fact that it's centered and stuff. But really, the main reason to do this is stuff like where is it? I've lost it. Text. Alright, so where is one I've not written anything on? Right, so here I've not written anything about learning new bass parts, so if I want to write something about it there now, I can do that. Alright, and then all I've got to do is save what I've got as CSV. Alright, and if I go back onto the website, I can then import. I'll show you the problem that I've got at the moment when I import. Alright, they'll all go to an existing field because they all already exist. If one of these didn't already exist as one of my titles here, then it would ask me if I wanted to create a new one and what I want it to be called and stuff, and what type I want it to be. Like, is it an image, is it a bit of writing, is it a link, you know, that sort of thing. Now the issue that I have is, watch what will happen now. You'll get a second line where it's supposed to replace the lines that are already there, or the rows I should say. What's probably going to happen is it will create a second row of each of them, which is a pain. Yes, there we go, it did exactly that. I don't really get why it's doing that. It didn't used to do that. So what I'm having to do every time is delete everything and then upload what I've got. And then I sync it to the sync the sandbox to live. I usually do it the other way around actually, as I go on to the live. When I'm doing this last stage of uploading, I tend to go onto the live. And the reason for that is if I sync sandbox to live, it might then do 2 as well. So let's delete all of them. This is why you make absolutely certain that your Excel document is saved before you risk this. Import. Right, guide pages 2, as that was the most recent one. Okay, and now we're going to sync live back to sandbox. I'm going to erase sandbox and replace it with items from live. Okay, right, so that's all back live on the page, on the website, so it'll all link back into there. So you get the general idea of what it's doing. I hope I've explained it well enough. But a lot of the pages aren't going to link to those dynamic pages, alright, because there's certain bits like this entire top row that don't follow the structure that I showed you on that page, on that dynamic page. So it's going to be useless linking it to that dynamic page because I don't want it laid out that way. So all of them I've already done separately. They're done aside from me actually adding the story and lore. Like, so the page itself tells you how to go get that information in game and stuff, but and there's a couple of videos linked, one of which is broken because the guy's taken it down, which is very annoying because it was a pretty decent video. Anyway, most of these will link to the dynamic pages, and like I say, I've just got to edit in a whole bunch of information about them onto that database. But then we get to about here and we start, these bottom two are basically probably all going to be totally different. So there's certain ones like the cooking up here that will follow their own dynamic page structure. So it won't draw from the database that I just showed you, but will draw from a different database and a different layout page that I've set up, so that they end up looking similar to how they do on the old website, where you've got all the icons and names and they link to the individual pages. But yeah, these ones at the bottom are all going to have different layouts and stuff. So each one of these at the bottom are their own set of dynamic pages, because basically what you want is your main dynamic page, which was the one I showed you at first, didn't have anything on it. That's what each of these will link to, one of them. Alright, so uploaded star systems is a guide page, well, is a uploaded size star systems all dynamic page that I've not created yet, and that will take you to a page that has a button that allows you to upload a new star system that you've found and all the information about it, and it will show you a gallery of pictures and names of the star systems, and you can click each picture in that galaxy or the writing in that galaxy to take you to the individual uploaded star system's title. Alright, so those are the individual pages like I showed you a second ago with these. Okay, and that will be true of each of these, so that all this bottom row will have their own set of dynamic pages, as will updates and experimental, as will future content, as will bugs and fixes. Mods will be a simple page that simply links in the Nexus site as an embedded page, which I'll probably show you in a little while how to do that. That's nice and easy, because that's an easy page to get out of the way just by doing that. Other resources and YouTubers, that will be a page I create specifically, so that won't pull from any dynamic pages at all. That'll just be a specific page like my top row were. My website update blog is already there. It's simply linked to my blog app on here. Appearances will be its own page, or possibly a dynamic page. I reckon that's probably going to be dynamic actually. And then forum and groups links to the groups. I've decided on the groups app rather than the forum app. I think the groups is slightly better. That might already be linked, I'm not sure. Yes, that's already linked. Okay, so really I could turn that green or orange, or yellow, something, I don't know. I don't want to turn it green because I'm not actually on the groups. I'm not actually set up the groups yet. But let's do something to indicate that it's yeah. We'll give it a yellow then. Oh, I've just done the highlight, haven't I? That's annoying. Let's get rid of that. That looks far too similar to the green and the white. Pink looks too similar to the red. Let's turn them a light blue if they're... Yeah, okay, so that one's linked, so I've got that. Let's find out if any of the rest of these are linked, because I can't remember what I've done and what I haven't done at this point, which is why I should have been colour coding them as I went. No, none of those will be done. Alright, so I'm now going back to the boring task then. I think I've procrastinated enough. Where was I? Was I on derelict freighters? I had just done, hadn't I? Yep. So we're now on the freighters part. So the rest of this video is probably just going to be me doing this for a while. Actually no, I will, because there's no way I'm going to get all the way through this without going nuts and deciding to do something different. So I'll do something different in a bit. So I might be linking them all to the dynamic pages at the moment, but there's going to be some pages that I decide, you know what, I don't like it as a dynamic page, I want to create it properly, and I will then just come in and edit these links to the new pages. But like I said, for the time being I just want to get the website up and running so that people don't have to deal with what I actually strongly dislike at this point, this nonsense. Because, you know, I was like only 50% happy with this website in the first place. Like, I didn't like how cluttered particularly this main page felt, but there was a lot about the resizing and stuff that I don't like. So for example, if I do that, you know, it doesn't resize with you, right, which meant that when you were using a phone or a particularly small tablet, it didn't look right and you had stuff off the page, and like sometimes this menu wouldn't show because it was bumped off the page. You know, I just, no. So I want rid of this old site as quickly as possible and a new one in its place, but I only want to do that when it's got at least the stuff that's on the old website up and running, and then I can start worrying about going through and making each page better than it currently is. in content on it, I mean, like make the writing better, insert loot tables, you know, that sort of stuff, create new versions of each infographic, you know, all of that I can do once I've got the site up and running, and literally just go through one page at a time, making it as good as possible, you know. But I'm getting impatient about getting this uploaded, and I know certain other people are as well, so I would like to get it going as quick as I can, but it does mean that I've got to do all of this boring crap first. As you can see, it's not exactly something you can do particularly fast, especially when you've got to wait for stuff like this to load. And it's annoying that I've got to do stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that's annoying about both Wix Editor and Editor X. So Wix Editor being what I used for the old website, and Editor X being the new version that I've used for this new website. There's a lot of stuff that's really annoying, like if you're selecting pictures to replace an icon, for example, it doesn't remember where you left it. So let's say all of your icons are coming from the same folder. Well, you've got to navigate to that folder every single time you open the menu, which is a pain. Why can't it remember where you were? I don't understand why it resets to the top page every time. It's a real pain. And like I said before, it would be really handy to be able to change a picture, you know, just a replace picture within that that menu thing that comes up. So if I go change image, right, within here it would be really good to be able to select a particular picture and just have a, you know, replace image option there, and upload a new image to replace it, because then it would, everywhere across your website that is linked to that particular image, it would change. But it's just not an option. I mean, you can edit, you can crop and edit it, but it won't let you paste new stuff over it or anything like that. It literally is just about changing the picture that's already there in some way or another. Alright, but you can't add new content onto it, which is a real bugger. I mean, I can add text over it, alright, but that's about it. So yeah, that's a big annoyance for me. I think they should add the feature to literally just replace. I just want to check as I go. So main page, we were at Space and Galaxies. Well, the good thing is I don't have to actually click all these links. Reset. I can just see if this little hand comes up, then I can tell that the link is working. Right, the icons are all working. Now for the writing. Yep. I already did the these icons and writing for each section. Okay, so the good news is we've only got a few more, 1, 2, 3, 4 more sections left to do. So let's just get on with it and get it out of the way, shall we? And the good news is some of it I don't need to link because they're already linked. Why am I looking for it when I can? That's why I don't usually do it that way. This is so boring. Oh yes it is. See, sometimes I accidentally forget to click done and I click somewhere else, and it then causes it not to work, which is why I then go into the actual page and check that there's a link to it. But whilst this is a pain in the butt to set up, it will mean that in the future any changes I want to make to these pages, I don't have to come into this whole editor and stuff to do. I can just go into the database manager that I showed you before and edit it in there, and it will just make the changes to that specific page, which means that repeatedly editing stuff in the future will be a lot easier. Like seriously, a whole lot easier. So whilst I'm having to put an awful lot of time and effort into this, boring effort I might point out, into this at the moment, it will save me a lot of work in the future that it's been more difficult on my current website to make changes than it will be on this new one. I mean, I could still do the database thing, but like I say, where I'm going to be creating new infographics but within actual pages rather than using Paint. Where Paint I have to like basically delete whatever section has got writing on it and rewrite it all. I won't have to do that anymore. I can just edit a web page. I'm quite excited about this, but again, it's going to be very time consuming to create each of those pages in the first place. But it does mean that when Hello Games inevitably change how something works, like they do with everything, it will be really easy for me to go into that web page, edit the writing on there, click publish, and then that will change it on the website itself. And then I just take a screenshot of that part of the web page and save it as an image on my computer, and then that's my guide that I can upload to Facebook or whatever. So yes, editing my current guides will be a lot easier than it currently is, and that's yet another reason to be doing this new website. I mean, it is taking up quite a bit of my Easter holiday, and it will probably take up quite a bit of time afterwards as well. But you know what, I gave the entire summer to the creating the old website, so by comparison this is nothing. And it does mean that whilst I would quite like to be spending quite a bit more time playing computer games, particularly No Man's Sky, during my holiday, at least I'm not, wasting, as it were, my holiday just playing computer games. Cat, I feel like you're about to knock my microphone off. Down you go. Thank you. Keep doing it, I keep forgetting to go there first. Cat, of all the places in the room you can choose to be, why choose to be right next to my microphone? You know how this is going to end. You are going to knock my microphone off. I am going to throw you out of the room, probably literally picking you up and throwing you. Right? I won't do that, don't worry people. I'm going to be very angry if that microphone comes off of where it currently is, Cat, so you be careful. Yeah, I also don't like how it doesn't do things in order. Like all these pages, for example, are not in the right order, or they're not even in the order I created them, which is really annoying. And then this, why aren't these in the right order either? It offends me, and it really messes with my OCD, I'll say. I don't really have OCD, but there are things that annoy me enough that people claim I have OCD. So for example, if I look to my right now, all of my DVDs are in alphabetical order, and people that realise this like to mess with me by just removing one or two of them and putting them back in the wrong place. And when I'm just sitting here doing stuff like this, every now and again, without even realising why I'm annoyed, I'll be annoyed, and it will take me a little while, but I'll figure out that somewhere in the back of my mind I have noticed that a DVD is in the wrong place. Like I haven't consciously recognised that fact, but I have subconsciously recognised it, and it takes a while for me to consciously recognise that something is in the wrong place. But I get there eventually all of the time, and then I'm like, that's why I've been annoyed for the past 20 minutes. And then I do have to do something about it, you know. I have to put the DVD in the right place. I can't not. So I suppose in some ways is kind of OCD, but I don't want to make light of the whole concept of OCD, because, you know, people who genuinely suffer from like proper OCD, they have difficulty getting on with their lives because of it. You know, you like constantly hear stuff about people having to turn lights on and off a certain amount of times before they leave a room and stuff like that. But it's, you know, there's even more serious stuff than that. So when people say, oh yeah, you've got OCD, there's a bit of me that sort of just cringes a bit, because I'm like, well no, I really don't, because actually I can, you know, it'll annoy me that a DVD's in the wrong place, but I can, if I absolutely force myself to, I can leave my flat knowing that I've left it in the wrong place. I will probably think about it for most of the day, but I can leave the flat, is the point. Whereas someone who genuinely has OCD could not possibly leave the flat knowing that that's wrong, you know. So yeah. Also, OCD is usually more about cleanliness than about things being in the right place. You know, it's usually a sort of a germ thing, a germaphobe type thing, rather than a organisation thing. So when people say, oh yeah, you've got OCD, they sort of use it wrong, because they're usually referring to the fact that you're organised rather than the fact that you are obsessively clean. So if you know someone who's obsessively clean about absolutely everything, then they're much more likely to have OCD than someone like me who just likes things to be in the right place. Well, I am talking a lot of randomness, aren't I? Well, I am getting there. I think talking all this randomness is making this feel like it's going a bit faster than it was when I was just doing it. At least I'm making progress, and I'm less bored than I was when I was doing the top half of the page, which seemed to take me forever. Starbirth. Right, now cooking I don't really want to link, because I know for a fact that's going to be a dynamic page. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to indicate that it's going to be a dynamic page by turning it purple, I guess, or some sort of purple. How does that look? Yeah, let's make it a bit more visible than that. That one? It's going to be too dark, isn't it? Yeah. Let's do the lighter one next to it. Okay, yeah, that'll do. Right, so that tells me that's a dynamic page that I haven't set up yet. Right, so it's not drawing from the guide pages, dynamic pages, because I don't want it to. I want a different layout for it. Now, of course, I've got databases for a lot of dynamic pages that you won't see an icon for here. So, for example, if I scroll up, where is it? So let's say upgrading your equipment, recipes and blueprints. Those are probably my two main ones that I'm about to talk about. So upgrading your equipment, that at the moment links to a dynamic page. It talks about how to upgrade your equipment and has the videos and does all the things that these other pages do. But I've obviously got a set of dynamic pages about all of the equipment you can add to your exosuit, your ships, your living ship, your exocraft, your multi-tool and your freighters. Right, so what I'm going to have to do is either link that page, embed that page within this page, or add the button links to those dynamic pages. Yeah, and then the same will be true of the recipes and blueprints part, right? And I can probably link a lot of them into their individual sections as well, like portable technology can go to the portable technology one, the industrial parts can go to the industrial parts one, and etc. etc. But yeah, it means that this clicking on this link isn't going to go to the dynamic pages that's got all of those individual items on. So I either need to embed that set of dynamic pages within it, or, which I probably will do, but depending on how complicated that makes the page, or just have the button links that are already there on those pages. So let's just go up and click it. Alright, so let's go recipes and blueprints. Okay, so I could make, well, so you see I've already got one there that goes at the moment to nowhere. But it will, I want it to go to items and crafting, basically. So a new version of this, right, which then in return goes to each of these dynamic pages. Right, so this is a main dynamic page, and if I click on individual one, then these are the title dynamic pages. Okay, so basically, and I need to create this template but better as well. Alright, so yeah, basically I need either to embed, let's reopen that and go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So basically I might need 8 buttons rather than 4. One for each of them. We could maybe add icons onto the buttons as well. 1, 2, why have I got 9 there and 8 up here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, what am I missing? Raw materials, crafted products, constructed technology. Oh, it's because I've added equipment blueprints in there, which leads me to here. So on the equipment blueprints you've got a similar setup. Right, so clicking on exosuit will take you to all the exosuit tech, and clicking on the individual exosuit tech will take you into the individual thing. Now again, this is another thing that I'm quite liking. I'm going to get to redesign, because I don't entirely like this setup, especially as it doesn't, like, one of my main headaches about the old website are these pages and how they don't adjust to where I want them, and how I've had to make this little subheading, and how certain elements keep breaking out of their boxes and stuff, and oh, it was a nightmare, and I shouldn't have that issue on the new website. Anyway, I'm procrastinating again, and that's silly to do that when I'm so close to being finished. Right, so I did weather effects, didn't I? Yep. Did I do the writing of weather effects? Yep. Okay, so pets. I'm actually going to change that writing to, oops, companion pet. Don't know what I did there. And again, on this page, I'm going to have to link to my item tables that at the moment I've got in Excel, but I want to get them on the website as their own web pages, because I obviously need to be doing some research into the egg sequencer, basically what items do what to your pet. Now I've obviously, most of you will have seen I've already got a lot of data about that, mostly from Joran, who's been very helpful in the matter, as he did all that testing before my PC, before I managed to fix my PC basically. Most of the information that's out there has come from him on the subject of the egg sequencer. So yeah, he's been very helpful, but I want to go through absolutely everything myself and create like a proper full-blown table, and then embed it in that page probably, or link it in those buttons. I still haven't decided for each thing what I want to do. So expedition mode. Obviously this page I have absolutely no information created yet, because I've been working on this website rather than creating content about expedition mode. I can't help but notice that's not centered. Why has it done that? So yeah, that's a whole page I've got to create. Information I've got to create from scratch. $17.5, $14.5. They're all $14.5. Why is that decided on $17.5? That's weird. Okay. Okay, as I said, updates and experimental, that's going to be its own set of dynamic pages, and that should be fairly easy because those dynamic pages I haven't set up themselves, but the database itself does already exist. So let's turn that purple. It was that one, wasn't it? Future content is its own one, so let's turn that purple as well. I'll link them when those pages actually exist. Bugs and fixes. Yeah, let's link that to the dynamic page that already exists, because I reckon I can put basically all of that on there. I don't think it needs its own set of dynamic pages. It pretty much just needs the infographics that already exist. So it's going to be my aim once this is up and running. Basically what I want to do with each week is weekdays, when I get home from work, I want to create one video for my gaming YouTube channel or my No Man's Sky Resources YouTube channel. And you know, that ensures that I get to play some games. And then the weekends I want to do something on the website to improve it basically. So I'm hoping that every weekend there'll be something added to my blog to say I've improved this specific page, or this, how this specific thing across the website works, or whatever else, you know. I've completely forgotten what I was linking here. I wasn't paying attention and I can't see it. Mods. Alright, so that that's going to be its own page. So I'm going to leave that alone. Actually, let's change it to that can be pink. So pink can be own page. No, that's too similar to the purple. green. No, green means it's done. I don't know, I'm running out of colours. A light blue maybe? No, because that was too similar to the white. The yellow was too similar to the white. Oh, whatever, I'll just have to remember to create it. Or maybe I just write create after it. There we go, that's one way of doing it. But then I'd have to do it on the next one as well, which I don't want to do. Okay, so appearances I need to create as well. So these three bottom ones I can't link to anything yet because I literally need to create them. Appearances I'm going to turn purple because I think I want to do a dynamic page set of pages for them. Alright, so these all need to be dynamic pages, so they all need to be purple. And again, like I say, there's going to be other pages I need to create that aren't on this main page. You have to get to them. There'll be dynamic pages related to pages that you can see here, but you'll have to get to them from the individual pages. So bored, even talking to you guys, this is still so boring. I can't wait to get to that point that I eventually got to when I was creating the old website, where I realised I was getting close to being done and there was this amazing excitement about it all. See, at the moment it's just a sort of a feeling of dread about just how much work is still left to do on all of this, especially considering pages that don't even exist yet, you know, of which there's quite a few. So I want to get past that sort of feeling of, oh god, can I be bothered, and on to the feeling of, oh yeah, this is going to be so cool when it's done, and it's nearly done, you know. I want that feeling. Right. You are clearly not centered anymore. I don't know why some of these are no longer centered. That is quite annoying. Yep, cat, you are not a good window. No, don't stay there. Thank you. Don't know why she does it. She literally puts herself right in front of my face and just stops moving. It's like, if you're walking past me, walk past. Don't stay directly in front of me. That's incredibly inconvenient. I think all of the rest are still centered. Okay, cat, now you... Why did I agree to have a cat? I don't... Right, no, it's no good if you're that... Right, you might not be in front of my face anymore, but you're still in front of the screen. Go away. No, get down from there! Oi! Oi! Down! You know not to do that. Yeah, you do. You're a pain in the butt. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, okay, so let's publish and save. Alright, so now I want to go to the main site. Let's refresh. Absolutely everything that's on this main site should be linked to a page apart from way down at the bottom, mods, other resources and appearances, because they don't exist yet. These don't exist yet either, sorry. Okay, so I suppose my next order of business would be to link the purple ones. Well, actually no, I want to create the mod page and the other resources page first, because they should be a lot easier to do. So I do that one next, then that one, then I'll link the these 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 dynamic pages because I've already got a tiny bit of data. Well, I've got all the data for these 3 and a little bit of data for the uploaded star systems and uploaded planets from the old website. I never did get around to creating the pages for bases, ships, tools, fauna at the time, and flora and minerals. I never managed those, so I've got to create them from scratch. And the cooking I can link as well. So that's my order of business for today, and then I think tomorrow we'll be going through the database and making the actual content that's on these pages perfect. Okay, so what I'll be doing is I will go through them one at a time like so. I will scroll down and I'll be like, right, okay, is this the most up-to-date version of this? And I know that these all are because I've already checked. It turns out they haven't actually changed anything on these. There was the one about feeding and taming creatures that updated with the companions update, but I already updated that, so that's fine. The rest of them are the same. I screenshotted, I checked every single one of them, and they're all the same, just the background might be a very mildly different colour, and that's really not worth going through the effort of remaking these pictures for when it's all exactly the same. Bearing in mind a lot of the pages that I'm going to come to won't have one of these because they're pages that I've added that Hello Games never made a guide for, which is why I need this website in the first place, really. So I will need to create versions of these, I guess. I potentially can do without the text down here for some of them. I can just make this text really short and make these really good. Anyway, right, so as you can see on this page I've got a before you begin link, but I don't need that. That's gonna just go back to nothingness. Right, so I can get rid of that on my dashboard, database manager. So you can see I've still got the various ones from the old website. I just need to link them to pages. I say link them, I need to create the dynamic pages and then link those dynamic pages to these. So the updates one is there, it's got all of the content in it. I just need to create an all page and a title page for layout for each of them. But for now, guide pages. You'll see I'll be editing from the live, not the sandbox, and I'll just need to, when I'm next in the editor, transfer the live over to the sandbox. But hey, we're on before you begin, and it's not page links, is it? It is page links, isn't it? Where? No, we're on getting started, which is here. So page links for that are these. Right, and they link back to before you begin there. Okay, so I don't feel like that's a necessary button, so I'm going to get rid of it. Oh, I need to actively clear content, don't I? Okay, so there's no need for it, it's gone. Alright, I do want to move over the embed page. Oh, I've got 2 embed pages. Why? Why do I have 2 embed pages? What did I call this before? Okay, so that was insert page and embed page. Why did I feel the need to have 2 separate ones for that? Or is it it's created the second one because I renamed it? Is that it? You should work either way, it's text or URL, but I should really make you a URL, whatever. Alright, so let's move it over anyway. I really need to get this in the same order as it is on the sandbox. See, I wish stuff like this would just happen automatically. Fine if it allows us to make it bigger, that's fine, but they should start as the smallest they can be, or they should wrap to the text. Alright, so where it says page link 4B, it should at least go to there automatically, you know? But no, they like to waste space. Right. So really want that there, and then the embed. Right, considering these three are the most important parts of all this, they should probably be first. Because everything else is going to be the same really. So let's move these all the way over, because they're what we most care about here. As they're what I will be potentially editing. Okay. An easier way of reshuffling this now is going to be to just move the nonsense over. Right, so moving between the videos. To put it after the videos, which makes perfect sense. Not. I don't care about the icons, that's not going to change. Already sorted them. And I feel like I'm much more likely to need to edit the videos at the moment than the resources. So let's put the videos over. Don't need row in order too much, so those can go over there as well. Okay, so keep 2 page links visible at all times. So I can now go through and write what I want to about Survival Basics. It will change it on the Survival Basics page. About getting started, it will change it on the getting started page. And I can check what needs doing by simply going through each thing, right? So I might want a second video there about awakenings, or about getting started at least. Alright, again I want to redo the videos anyway. So I might put the first expedition video there possibly, when I recreate that, because I did the first phase of the expedition and there was an issue with my microphone that I didn't realise until 3 hours in, where my voice was barely coming up. It keeps happening on Windows 10 for some reason. It keeps resetting the microphone settings to the wrong, no, that's the wrong place. Hang on, let's go open sound settings. There's my input, device properties. No, that's not where I want to go either. See, it's confusing, there's too many different places it goes. Is it just on sounds? Right, here we go. It keeps changing from the default playback device to one of these, and one of them's wrong and one of them's right. Default picks the right one, but it keeps changing and I don't realise it until it's too late. And it means that if I go to, where is it? I've already lost it again. I had it open a second ago. Is it in sound settings? yeah, so you can see here that my voice is actually being recorded decently. It's not all the way up like I'd like it to be, but I don't want to deafen people. But it was literally registering like 1 at best with that issue. So you couldn't hear me. So I'm going to have to redo the first phase of the expeditions to recreate that video, and it will probably go there, unless I make a video very specifically about getting started in the game. But anyway, so I can tell what I need to do to this page, so I will then just click next page. Alright, once I've edited what I need to within the dashboard, and I'll go through this page and I'll go, right, okay, we've got a link to the analysis visor icon table. Maybe I want to actually embed the table there instead, so I will instead have that basically. And I'll hide on the actual design of the page, I will hide the buttons and show the embedded page instead. Well, I can see that I need to write some writing about navigation basics there. I can see that my eventually I'll go through again and I'll see that, okay, I've got a No Man's Sky resource infographic here that would be better as an embedded page that I can edit. Alright, so I will create a page that looks a bit like that, but with the new versions of these icons on. Alright, because these icons, whilst they're still right, they don't look like the correct ones anymore, and all of these ones have now got their individual icons rather than these 1, 2, 3s. So yeah, this needs remaking as a page basically, which I can then embed. Now I can see that because it's here on the page. Alright, I might make this quick menu thing as a page as well and just link it in. Alright, so there'll be one after the other there because there's only those 2 on this page, so I'll just link in 2 separate pages. That's fine. And then I'll go next page and I'll go, right, okay, so on this page I want to link in the Exosuit Blueprints main dynamic page instead of this button. In fact, I'm probably going to do away with the buttons altogether on most pages. There's only a couple of things that need those buttons. For example, the electricity one has got this 4 brilliant guides about electricity that aren't mine, so they link out to other websites where it's been explained in great detail. So I can see on this page I need to write something about hazard protection, and I've only got one little guide about it. That one doesn't really feel to me like it needs its own page. I feel like that is all that it needs to be, so I will leave that one alone. Alright, so literally all I need to do for this page is link a second video that might be relevant to hazard protection, like my storm crystal. Let's do that one actually. So if I bring up my YouTube videos, oh, do you know what? I don't want to do it from there. Let's do it from the No Man's Sky resources guides all. Somewhere in here will be a video about storm crystals and treasures and stuff, I think. It's very possible I've already passed it. Yeah, let's go back to top. It was probably that one. I'm not entirely certain. God, that's long. See, again, I want to remake videos as short as possible. See, the more the more I talk about it, the more work it appears to be, so let's not get too involved. So my second video link then there. Now if I refresh on hazard protection, hopefully it will link to that video as well. Or not. Why not? Did I not give it enough time? Interesting, why is that not working then? Because I put it in entirely the wrong place. Now let's refresh. And there you go, it comes up there now. I just need to remember next time I'm on this page but within the editor, alright, so if I go in, I just need to remember that my sandbox is not currently up to date. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go over to live, and I want to sync live to sandbox, and we'll just erase sandbox and replace it with items from live. Okay, now I'll go back to sandbox and make any changes that I want to, and those changes won't go live on the site until I press sync sandbox to live. Okay, so hopefully I've explained what I've got left to do over the next few days. I do not want to mess. My brain's not working enough to mess around with writing new stuff today, so that'll be tomorrow's task, I think, because honestly my brain doesn't seem to be working properly today. So I'd rather do some page layouts for some of the easy stuff today. So like I said before, it'll be these individual pages near the bottom, like the layouts for the updates and experimental and the future content. I can easily create the mods page, piece of cake in just a minute. That one's slightly more difficult, but I can do that afterwards. At least I'm achieving something today then, beyond just adding links to pages that aren't complete yet. But yeah, hopefully I've explained well enough where I'm at with it at the moment, and hopefully it will soon be at a point where I can, whilst I won't be anywhere near done, I can erase the old website and replace it with this one, because this one is, let's face it, infinitely better. I also need to hopefully today mess around a little bit with the groups and with the members pages, so that they sort of match up a bit to at least what we've already got on the current website. I haven't figured out yet if there's a way to actually transfer the members over. I think it might be a case of I just have to ask everyone to reapply to the new website, even though it's going to be at the same web address once I move it over. It will still be www.nomanskyresources.com, even though at the moment it's not. At the moment that leads you to the old website here. Okay, hopefully if I do it right, when I've transferred it over, that will lead you to the new website. Okay, well, thanks for watching. I hope this was informative, and I know it got a bit long, but hopefully it gave you an idea about just how much time and patience this is requiring from me. See you in the next video. Bye.